You guys are doing well. My name is Gallman. I've been here for 5 years now. I do all the recruiting, or at least the majority of it. I work with players, catchers, and the majority of our base running as well. So for my first 2 years of college, I went to Florence College Tech. Then I transferred to Coker College and played for Dave Smonser. First off, is Dave Smonser here? Good. Did anybody play for Coach Smonser? Not a single. Oh, you guys are in history. Okay. So I'll tell you about Coach Monsor. He's a really great baseball guy. He's a different individual, but a really great baseball guy. Good in base running. That's what I'm going to go over with you today. So when I was being recruited by Coach Monsor, he would call and leave me voicemails. I graduated from Edisto High School, which is in Orangeburg, South Carolina. It's not at the beach. And Coach Monsor would call me and leave me emails. Finally got in touch with me. He called me about once a week, and he talked about golf. Every time he talked to me, he talked about golf. So I go to Edisto all the time and play golf. I'm thinking, Coach, I'm pretty sure you didn't go to Edisto to play golf. Let it go. Anyway, finally I tell him, Coach, you know Edisto High School is in Orangeburg, South Carolina, right? He goes, oh, no, I don't go to Orangeburg to play golf. So, long story short, he's a great baseball guy, good base running guy, awesome base running guy. So first off, we think if you want to be really good at something, you work on it. And that's just one of the things. If you want to play really good ground ball defense, you work on it. If you really want to hit, you probably take 2 hours of BP a day. This is just a really big priority for us, so we work on it. It may not be for 45 minutes a day, it may be for 10 minutes of practice, but we work on it at least every single day. Going into it, we want to play the game hard. We tell our guys we want to play all out, full speed the whole time. So we hold our guys accountable, and the way we do that is we have 3 hustle plays. The first one's called C-note hustle. Anyone know what a C-note is? $100 bill. So that's just a routine ground ball to short, a 6-3 or 4-3, a ball that's probably an out, at least at this level, we hope it is. But we want our guys running hard the whole time because we want to put pressure on the defense. So we call that play C-note hustle. The next one is called a Pete Rose turn. Everybody watch Pete Rose, play the game hard. We want guys to get out there on the turn, and that's a base in the left, a base in the right, something that's probably a single, but we want to stretch it if we can. If he bobbles that ball 1 second, we're just going to keep on going a second, and we can take advantage of that. That make sense? The last one of our hustle plays, we just call it stand on second, and that's that pop-up as a 3-1 pitch. The guy just missed the fastball. The center fielder's coming in, the shortstop's probably going out. It's probably an out, but we want the guy to hustle. Stand on second if that ball happens to fall. That's only going to happen twice a year, but we want to take advantage of it if it does. Coming back to that, we'll talk about another thing in a second. Expectations and standards, we tell those guys that, so they know it to begin with. All our hitters know that this is what's expected. This is the standard. If you get out the box, and when you're really good at it, you set that culture, the guys will hold them accountable. You won't have to say it. The seniors will hold those guys accountable, and those older guys. So when they pop the ball up, you won't have to say it as a coach. Hopefully that older guy tell them, hey, you got to be standing on second. Or if he hits the 6-3, hey, you got to get out of line. That's what's expected of you. All right, moving into actual base running. We'll talk about our leads at first. The first thing we tell the guys is you got to get out there early at first base. You got to get out there early, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One, we want to be able to try to peek if we can. If that catcher's going to give us a sign, he's not doing a good job of closing off, and he's just giving signs, especially if he's just giving one. We give the green light a lot here at Francis Marion. We don't give the steal sign as much. We want guys to get their own rhythm, their own time, and if they can have a peak, they'll have an advantage of that green light. Does that make sense? So say if they see a breaking ball or a changeup, they got a better chance of running than on the fastball. That's the biggest thing about getting out there early, is that peak. When to peak, why to peak, and how to peak. You peak when the pitcher's looking. Okay, so when that pitcher's looking in for a sign is when you peak. That's when the guy's peeking in. If he's already got a sign, one, you're out there too late. Your hitter's probably not allowing you to set up. That's a big thing too. You got to make sure that hitter gives you time to set up as a base runner, where you can look in and at least look for the peak. It may not be there. You may have a good advanced catcher where he's closing that sign off, or if he's even giving multiple signs to the guy on first. That peak may not be there, but if it is there, you want to take advantage of it. So you peek when the guy's looking in. When the pitcher's looking in for his sign, that's when you look in for their sign. And we peek, like I said, for green lights, and we also peek for dirt ball reads. Coach calls that for the late steal, but if we got a catcher who doesn't run as well, base running is overlooked sometimes because you think flush runners are good base runners, which is not always the case. And then you got guys who don't run really well that are good base runners. So the base running doesn't always come down to guys stealing bag. We're talking about going first and third, scoring from second like this, taking dirt ball reads. you know, that word Coach used, and we do it a lot, you know, bunting is almost a sin now. You hear guys talking about, oh, we can't bunt, we can't bunt. Well, some guys have to bunt, but to eliminate the bunt, you can be really good at dirt ball reads. You know, if it's a no outs, and the guy's on first, he gets a good dirt ball read, now you can wipe the bunt off and the guy can swing away. You know what I mean? So that's another why. And how to peak. I don't know if, now I was a big Braves fan growing up. I watched Andrew Jones play, and that guy was always peaking. But it was never with his head. You know, he was always had his head on the pitchers and he peaked with his eyes. And a lot of times he wore sunglasses, but when he didn't, you could see him peeking the whole time, looking in, looking in, looking in. So if you can get that sign, that's just another advantage we have. There's 4 times a pitcher can pick. One's looking in for a sign. So if he's looking in, he can throw over. The next one's coming up, coming down, and when he's set. So those are the 4 times we tell our guys that they can pick. Any questions on that? Now the actual mechanics of getting our lead. We always tell our guys, you're probably at a 12 to 14 foot lead. That cutout's probably going to be at 13 foot. And the next one's the heel to toe ratio. So we always tell our guys they're going to have their left heel to their right toe, about shoulder width apart, a nice athletic stance. We always want guys to try to be athletic. Whatever they do, they're going to be athletic. So we don't want them stiff. We want them in that heel to toe, shoulder width apart roughly, and really, really athletic. I'm not, and I tell my guys all the time, I'm not big on hand position where you have to have your hands, you know, you have to have them up, you have to have them down. I've seen really good base runners just sit there with hands on their knees and they're fine at it. So whatever's the most comfortable for them is what we go with. We get what's called a dive back lead. This is all off a right-handed pitcher. So a dive back lead, we don't want our guys going in, you know, feet first. We want them diving back, so it's aggressive lead. So get out there, work at it. Again, you don't have to be a plus runner to be a good base runner. We want them in the baseline. So that base is, 15 inches? We don't want them too far up to where they're crossover and they have to readjust back into the baseline, but we don't want them too far back as well. I see a lot of guys get that lead and they're, 4 or 5 feet back out of the line. Now this is just talking about at first base now. We want them in the baseline because we want that point A to point B stance, okay? We want a straight line. I heard a guy last night talking, and he says a lot of the breakdown for big leaguers is it's not the drop step or the heel to toe, whatever it is. How quickly can you get in line with second base? How quickly? We'll move into the secondary. Secondary is always hard. You always take an aggressive secondary, and that'll move into our dirt ball reads as well. We really, really want to work at that, and you'll see some guys get lazy on that. And nowadays, catchers really, really throw well behind, and they'll throw well behind a lot more often as well. They pick all the time now, so we really, really want to work at it, but you have to stay balanced. That's one of the biggest things, and I'm usually coaching first base at Francis Marion. I'll tell those guys all the time, balance. Especially on the bunt, we'll talk about that. That's being a big cardinal sin, is to get picked off on the bunt through. So we want to avoid it at all costs. So balance is a huge part of it. A left-handed pitcher, our leads are a little bit different than a right-handed pitcher. We get a little bit bigger, and we go into what we call a one-way lead. So that guy's probably another step out there. His secondary is going to be a little bit shorter. But if guy's another step out there, as soon as he lifts, that left-handed pitcher lifts, we will take a lean back. It's not a step, it's not a shuffle, it's just a lean back. If we're not going anywhere, he lands, we land on the implantation, we get our secondary. Everything's hard, we work at it, get out there, aggressive. It's always on the implantation. Now if we're stealing, it's obviously on first move. You're not going to go, unless it's a hit and run, that's different. So you're being put in motion on a hit and run, whereas trying to steal the base on a straight steal. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Maybe why we do that?
I got a question on what's the best way to practice dirt ball?
Okay, perfect. I'll get into that right now. Thank you. So we're going to move in straight into dirt ball reads. He's right on it. That's a huge part of our offense. I happened to be on a really good team my last year, and we were extremely good at it. And that was a team that really liked to bunt. And we got away from bunting so much because we were so good at the dirt ball. And in turns, what's the biggest dirt ball? You're going to get that breaking ball. In turn, you get more fastballs. So if you want more fastballs, be really good at the dirt ball. Let's see. Anticipation, that's one of the biggest things for guys are, they're going when that ball hits the dirt and you're already too late. You got to see it out of hand. We're reading the flight and the release of the baseball. And that's again where the peak comes in. If you can see that, especially for your guys who don't run as well, those catchers, those first basemen, If they can read and be really good at the dirt ball, they don't have to have stolen bases, but they can advance on dirt balls. So we're reading the flight and release. The easiest one to read is that big break ball, the curveball. And the hard one is that fastball because it's going to skip. That break ball takes that typical bounce up. You know, that catcher's going to bounce it. It's going to bounce up into the catcher's chest protector and drop down, rather as that fastball is sometimes hard to read because it'll skip and the catcher will pick it sometimes. Or even when he does block, it'll skip right into the middle. So that fastball, that's the toughest one. Sliders, again, are tough too, but change-ups and curveballs are the easiest ones to read. Again, if we're leaving, when that ball touches the dirt, we're too late. We practice it, and I'll tell you how we practice it right now. But if we're leaving when the ball touches the dirt, we're too late. And I'll tell the guys, you'll see a lot of youngsters get in there and they'll do it. And they're thinking, yeah, that's right. Well, it's not, because you're already, a good catcher's going to throw you out. But the way we practice it, so there's a couple different ways we'll practice it. We'll either have Coach Butler get up there and he'll get on the mound, and our catchers will rotate in and out. So we'll have, we got 6 catchers right now. We'll have 3 back there at a time, 3 base running. And then we'll go 4 deep. So we'll have 4 lines at first, there'll be a guy right in the line, and then just right behind him. And then the catchers and Coach Butler are on the same page. So there'll be a sign for fastball up, and a sign for fastball in the dirt, a sign for break ball up, and so on. So it's usually the mid, that's usually what we go by is, if this guy's giving a sign in the base, you can't tell the hitter just because they'll start cheating. But the catcher will give this sign, he'll hold that mid open, it's fastball for a strike, fastball in the dirt, break ball for a strike, break ball in the dirt. And that's usually how we do that. And then we'll go another round of that, and we'll do pitchers. And you take, left-handed pitchers, different arm slots. You don't always want the same guy out there doing it because you're not really getting anything from it. So we'll take a left-hander, maybe a guy who's a lower three-quarter, maybe a guy who's a higher three-quarter, maybe a guy who throws a big loopy break ball, maybe a guy who throws a lot of change-ups. Mix and match and work on all of it because you never know what you're going to see. You don't want guys to get in a rhythm where they know exactly what this guy's throwing. They know when he's throwing it, they're cheating a little bit. They want to get good at it, anticipate it, and read it, just like they would as a game. That's a good question. That's the 2 ways we usually practice that. And we'll do that. We usually do dirt balls at least once a week. We try to do it twice a week when time permits. But we do base running every single day. I mean, even if it's 10 minutes, even if it's during BP, sometimes we'll stretch and throw, and then we'll jump right into base running. But we do it every single day. That's just a part of it. Sometimes it's for 10 minutes. Sometimes it's for 20 minutes. I mean, it just early on. Usually, it takes a lot more time. You're teaching guys rather than kind of enhancing it. But we practice it every single day. The last words I got for you guys. Again, base running doesn't pertain to only 6, 7 runners. I played with a first baseman that stole 22 bags because he's a really good base runner. Not that he ran real well, but he's a really good base runner. So it doesn't necessarily pertain to the guys that can really run in the outfield. You look in the outfield, you're thinking, well, that guy should have 10 bags, that guy should have 10 bags, that guy should have 10 bags. But it more pertains to the guys who really work at it and are better on the bases. This can be a big factor in scoring more runs that we talk about, and I'm not going to get into it today, but we talk about going first to third, scoring from second on a hit. Again, if you want to avoid bunting, you want more fastballs, you got to be a better base running team. You get that dirt ball read, now you can wipe the bunt off. It's 1-0, and you're sitting on the fastball, the guy in scoring position, and no outs. That's a big one for us. We really work on that. The last thing I'll say to you guys, and I kind of opened with it. If you really want to be good at something, you work at it. And it doesn't matter if it's ground ball defense, if it's throwing BP, if it's whatever it is. If you really want to be good at it, you work at it. You work at it every single day. So that's what we do with our base running. I know it wasn't a lot, but I tried to hit on a little bit of what we do, and at least the main focus for us. But is there any questions that any guys have maybe on anything that I've spoken about?
How far do you get off when you start peaking?
You should get out there. I see guys that'll, they'll get out there and, 10 feet, and then that pitch comes set, and then they'll get out there. We get out there where we're going to stay. So that guy gets his lead 13 feet, he's out there. Now, if it's a catcher, people's dive leads are different. If the catcher is not as quick as that second baseman that runs really well, he's probably going to be at 12 feet, 11 feet. So that differs from guy to guy. But we get out there and we're set. We don't wait until the guy comes set and get another step. So we get out to our main lead, and that's it.
Or 60-40, 50-50 bounce.
We're about 50-50. Yeah, Yeah, we're always at that heel to toe ratio, and the reason we do that, we want to open up our hips a little bit and get ourselves in line. You should be athletic enough to where, now we're not talking where you're turned towards second base all the way where you can't even get back, but we are opened up a little bit. Yeah. Anything else? Thank you guys for having me. I'll pass the mic to Coach Butler and or Coach Rayner. Thank you. Thank you guys.